Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare
Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 10th chapter, Lord Krishna describes the opulences of the Absolute. In describing these opulences, Lord Krishna says in the 26th verse of the 10th chapter, Ashvathas sarva vrikshanam devarshinam cha naradaha gandharvanam chitraratha siddhanam kapilo munihi. The meaning of this verse is, of all trees, sarva vrikshanam, I am the holy fig tree, Ashwatha vriksha, or the banyan tree. Amongst sages and demigods, among sages of demigods, or sages among demigods, I am Narada, Devarshi. Among Devarshis, Krishna is represented by Narada. Of the singers of the gods or Gandharvas, I am Chitraratha. And among perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila. Siddhanam, among perfected beings, Kapilo Munihi, I am the sage Kapila, Kapila Muni. So these are the opulences of the Supreme Lord in this material world. In the Bhagavatam, in the 3rd canto, it is described how the Supreme Lord appeared as the son of Kardama Muni and Devahuti in his form as Lord Kapila. Kardama Muni was one of the Prajapatis. Prajapatis means those who are responsible for populating the universe after the creation. As you know, creation takes place at the beginning of the day of Brahma, because end of day of Brahma, everyone actually goes into the body of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. There is a partial dissolution of the universe and everyone goes to take rest in the body of Vishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So, night of Brahma, Brahma also goes to sleep. And Brahma wakes up, again he has to begin creation. So this creation is a daily activity for Lord Brahma. Sometimes people wonder that Brahma creates at the beginning of creation, then what does he do after that? No, Brahma has to create every day of his time scale on his planet. Every planetary system, the time scale is different. The time scale is not same. So Brahma's time scale is much different than the time scale on other planets. Brahma has to create every day when he wakes up in the morning. The first thing he has to do is he has to create. And after that, Brahma also has the responsibility as the leader of all the devatas who have got different administrative functions in this universe, universal administration. So, Brahma is also the leader of all the devatas. Whenever any devata has any difficulty, he approaches Brahma. And if Brahma also has difficulty, he approaches Vishnu, the maintainer Vishnu. So, the Supreme Lord, when he incarnates, generally the incarnation comes from the maintainer Vishnu. So, the Bhagavatam describes the different incarnations of the Supreme Lord. One of the important incarnations is the incarnation of Lord Kapila. It is described that Kardama Muni, as one of the Prajapatis, he prayed to the Supreme Lord, and in response to his prayers, the Supreme Lord agreed to incarnate as the son of Kardama and Devahuti. So Kardama once, while speaking to his wife Devahuti, he told Devahuti, do not be disappointed with yourself, you are actually praiseworthy. The infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead will shortly enter your womb as your son. Kardama is telling his wife, because Devahuti had undertaken some austerities in order to get the blessings of the Supreme Lord. So, Kardama is assuring his wife Devahuti, you have undertaken sacred vows, God will bless you. Hence, you should worship the Lord with great faith through sensory control, through religious observances, through austerities, and gifts of your money in charity. The personality of Godhead being worshipped by you will spread my name and fame. He will vanquish the knot of your heart by becoming your son and teaching you the knowledge of Brahman. The Supreme Lord will appear in order to actually give knowledge of the Supreme Absolute Truth to his mother Devahuti. He'll appear as her son, so therefore he will be instructing his mother. Devahuti was faithful and respectful toward the direction of her husband Kardama, who was one of the Prajapatis. O great sage, she thus began to worship the Master of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart. So Devahuti, following the direction of her husband Kardama Muni, she began to worship the Supreme Lord. After many years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusudana, the killer of the demon Madhu, having entered the semen of Kardama, appeared in Devahuti, just as fire comes from wood in a sacrifice. At the time of his descent on earth, the Supreme Lord appearing as the son of Kardama and Devahuti, demigods in the form of raining clouds sounded musical instruments in the sky. The celestial musicians, the Gandharvas, sang the glories of the Lord, while celestial dancing girls known as Apsaras danced in joyful ecstasy. At the time of the Lord's appearance, everything in the universe becomes very joyful. The Devatas particularly, they rejoice whenever the Lord appears because they are all devotees of the Lord and they know the Lord has come for a specific purpose, especially for the welfare of everyone in the whole universe. So it is described, at the time of the Lord's appearance, the demigods flying freely in the sky showered flowers. All the directions, all the waters, and everyone's mind became very satisfied. Brahma, the firstborn living being, went along with Marichi and other great sages to the place of Kardama's hermitage, which was surrounded by the river Saraswati. Lord Brahma, who is almost independent in acquiring knowledge, could understand that a portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his quality of pure existence, had appeared in the womb of Devahuti just to explain the complete state of knowledge known as Sankhya Yoga. The knowledge instructed by Lord Kapila, the incarnation of the Lord, to his mother Devahuti is called Sankhya Yoga. This knowledge is knowledge about the absolute truth. After worshipping the Supreme Lord, Brahma worshipped the Supreme Lord who was within the womb of Devahuti. Brahma spoke as follows to Kardama and Devahuti. Kardama Muni is Brahma's son. So, Brahma addressed Kardama as, "My dear son Kardama, since you have completely accepted my instructions without duplicity, showing them proper respect, you have worshipped me properly. Whatever instructions you took from me, you have carried out, and thereby you have honored me. Sons ought to render service to their father exactly to this extent. One should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, saying, "Yes, sir." Lord Brahma then praised Kardama Muni's 9 daughters, saying, "All your thin-waisted daughters are certainly very chaste. I am sure they will increase this creation by their own descendants in various ways." As Kardama Muni is a Prajapati and Brahma wants to populate the universe, Kardama Muni had 9 daughters, and these daughters will be married and they will generate offspring, and that way the universe will get populated. So Brahma is instructing Kardama Muni, "Therefore today please give away your daughters to the foremost of the sages with due regard for the girls' temperaments and likings, and thereby spread your fame all over the universe." O Kardama, I know that the original Supreme Personality of Godhead has now appeared as an incarnation by his internal energy. Whenever the Supreme Lord appears in this world, he is not subject to the action of the illusory energy. All of us generally take birth by the action of the illusory energy. Supreme Lord appears, even though he appears to take birth, he appears by his internal potency. Krishna says this in the Bhagavad Gita, "Sambhavami Atmamayaya." So same thing, Brahma is telling Kardama Muni, the Supreme Lord has appeared as incarnation by his internal energy. He is the bestower of all desires of the living entity, and he has now assumed the body of Kapila Muni. So the incarnation of the Lord is called Kapila Muni. By mystic yoga and the practical application of knowledge from the scriptures, Kapila Muni, who is characterized by his golden hair, his eyes just like lotus petals, and his lotus feet, which bear the marks of lotus flowers, will uproot the deep-rooted desire for work in this material world. So when the Lord appears as an incarnation, he has got specific marks. Especially on the sole of his feet, there will be some special marks. Just like Lord Kapila, it is described, will have the mark of lotus flowers on the sole of his feet. And Lord Kapila will purify the heart of this desire for fruitive activity. Lord Brahma then told Devahuti, "My dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitaba is now within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world. Your son will be the head of all perfected souls." The same thing is told by Krishna in this Bhagavad Gita, "Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi." Siddhanam means among the perfected souls. So therefore, here Brahma is telling Devahuti, your son will be the head of all the perfected souls. He will be approved by the acharyas, expert in disseminating real knowledge, and among the people he will be celebrated by the name Kapila. As the son of Devahuti, he will increase your fame. After thus speaking to Kardama Muni and his wife Devahuti, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, who is also known as Hamsa, went back to the highest of the 3 planetary systems, Brahmaloka, on his swan carrier with the 4 Kumaras and Narada. After the departure of Brahma, Kardama Muni, having been ordered by Brahma, handed over his 9 daughters as instructed to the 9 great sages who created the population of the world. When Kardama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all the demigods, Vishnu, had descended, Kardama Muni approached him means the Supreme Lord, in a secluded place, offered obeisances and spoke as follows. Kardama Muni said, "After a long time, the demigods of this universe have become pleased with the suffering souls who are in material entanglement because of their own misdeeds. After many births, mature yogis, by complete trance in yoga, endeavor in secluded places to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not considering the negligence of ordinary householders like us, that very same Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in our homes just to support his devotees." So Kardama Muni offered prayers to the Lord. "You, my dear Lord, who are always increasing the honor of your devotees, have descended in my home just to fulfill your word and disseminate the process of real knowledge. My dear Lord, although you have no material form, you have your own innumerable forms." So, when God is described in the scriptures as formless, it means he does not have a material form. But we should also understand God has spiritual form, not just one form. He is present in many different spiritual forms. So that's why Kardama Muni is telling, "My dear Lord, you have your own innumerable spiritual forms. They truly are your transcendental forms, which are pleasing to your devotees." All of the Lord's forms, spiritual forms, are pleasing to his devotees. "My dear Lord, your lotus feet are the reservoir that always deserves to receive worshipful homage from all great sages eager to understand the absolute truth." Anybody wants to know what is the absolute truth, they should worship the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in any of his spiritual forms. "You are full in opulence, renunciation, transcendental fame, knowledge, strength and beauty. Shadaishwarya Purna Bhagavan." So the Lord who has appeared, the son of Kardama, is actually Shadaishwarya Purna Bhagavan. Therefore he is called the incarnation of Vishnu. "And therefore I surrender myself unto your lotus feet." Kardama Muni is surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, who has appeared as his own son. "I surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, descended in the form of Kapila, who is independently powerful and transcendental, who is a Supreme Person and the Lord of the sum total of matter and the element of time, who is the fully cognizant maintainer of all the universes under the 3 modes of material nature, and who absorbs the material manifestations after their dissolution. The same Vishnu who is appearing as the son of Kardama. "Today I have something to ask from you who are the Lord of all living entities. Since I have now been liberated by you from my debts to my father, since all my desires are fulfilled, I wish to accept the order of itinerant mendicant. Renouncing this family life, I wish to wander about, free from lamentation, thinking always of you in my heart." So the Personality of Godhead, Lord Kapila, said, "Whatever I speak, whether directly or in the scriptures, is authoritative in all respects for the people of the world. O Muni, because I told you before that I would become your son, I have descended to fulfill this truth. My appearance in this world is especially to explain the philosophy of Sankhya, which is highly esteemed for self-realization by those desiring freedom from entanglement of material desires. This path of self-realization, which is difficult to understand, has now been lost in the course of time. Please know that I have assumed this body of Kapila to introduce and again explain this philosophy to the human society." Now being sanctioned by me, go as you desire, surrendering all your activities unto me. Conquering insurmountable death, worship me for eternal life. In your own heart, through your intellect, you will always see me, the supreme self-effulgent soul dwelling within the hearts of all living entities. Thus you will achieve the state of eternal life, free from all lamentation and fear. Thus, when Kardama Muni, the progenitor of human society, was spoken to in fullness by his son Kapila, he circumambulated him, and with a good pacified mind, he at once left for the forest. So, the Supreme Lord appeared as the son of Kardama and Devahuti in order to teach Sankhya Yoga. Hare Krishna. Now I will take some questions. Here is a question. Is it true that if a dried tulsi plant is placed on the dead body of a person, he or she will obtain liberation? The answer is that liberation is dependent on many different factors. One of the factors that helps somebody to attain liberation is the spiritual support that is given by other family members. In that sense, in that aspect, whichever way you can help somebody attain liberation, definitely you should do. And placing some tulsi leaves at the time of the cremation is going to help, definitely. But that alone is not sufficient. That alone is not sufficient. The person also should be free from material desires. Person also should be desiring completely to return to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to attain ultimate liberation. That is also required. So it does help, but it is not the only factor for liberation. Next question. The main pujari of Tirumala temple has tested positive for COVID-19. Why the Lord allows suffering for his devotees? Is it the collective karma which has started acting now? Why Lord allows calamity? So 3 questions are asked here. I'll answer them one by one. Why does the Lord allow suffering for his devotees? First of all, we should understand suffering is there only in the material world. There is no suffering in the spiritual world. Secondly, we should understand we all belong to the spiritual world. We don't belong to this material world. Why are we here? If this question is asked, why are we in this material world which is full of suffering? It is because we want to enjoy materially. It is because we desire independent enjoyment. It is because we are envious of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. So many different reasons can be given why we are here. In any case, having come here, after having achieved the human form of life, it is important to understand who am I, where do I belong, who is Krishna, what is my relationship, etc., etc., and aim to actually get out of this material existence by properly practicing spiritual life. Now, whilst practicing spiritual life, there may be some karma from the past which we may have to experience the resultant reactions. Now, those reactions may come as some suffering even for devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness. These sufferings the devotees accept with the blessings of the Lord to be able to tolerate such sufferings while executing devotional service. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Matra sparshaastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkha daha agama apayinaha anityaha tam titikshasva bharata. Krishna says, learn to tolerate happiness and distress, which are dualities of this material existence. They come and go. They are due to sense contact. Do not be disturbed by them. Learn to tolerate them. So how do we learn to tolerate these distress or happiness, dualities, sufferings which come? It is by our own spiritual practice, by praying to the Supreme Lord to give us strength to actually learn to tolerate all such sufferings which may come. Next part of the question is it the collective karma started acting? Yes, there is collective karma. Collective karma is the calamities which appear and which result in some mass destruction or result in some, just like the present COVID-19 pandemic that has spread practically all over the world. This is due to the collective karma of the people. Definitely it is true. Collective karma does affect a lot of people, mass of people. But individual karma is always acting. So, when some suffering is there, any person can understand it is my own karma, and my karma also contributes to the collective karma. Definitely, there is individual karma and there is collective karma. So, collective karma means I will see that not only I am suffering due to some particular reason, many people are suffering due to the same reason. So that is collective karma. Collective karma is there, individual karma is also there. Third part of the question, why Lord allows calamity? Calamity is because people become very sinful. In this material world, the laws of karma are working, and if people become sinful, individually, if they are sinful, they suffer karmic reactions, and if there is collectively people performing sinful activities, just like so much of animal killing is going on all over the world. So this animal killing has increased to such an extent, there has to be very big calamities. These calamities will result in mass destruction. And destruction is not just destruction like it happens at the end of the day of Brahma or the end of Brahma's life. No, it will be suffering and destruction. Suffering and destruction. People don't just die just like that. They will suffer and then they will have to die. So this Lord allows the calamity means the laws of nature are working exactly according to the laws. People will have to experience the reactions. Next question. Srila Prabhupada's book, A Second Chance, is wonderful. In which sequence should Srila Prabhupada's books be read? What comes first and then later, so that maximum understanding could be derived? Yes, it is recommended. Prabhupada has written many books, 70 volumes of books Prabhupada has written. Of all these books, the initial books which should be read are the small books. They are called small paperbacks. They used to be called Sandesh books. They give the basic message of our Vedic literature. Small books. There are about 20 small books. 20 small books. So these books, from the smallest book, which may be about 20 pages, up to about 60 pages, these books have to be read in the beginning. And the basics are all explained there. Very simple principles of Krishna consciousness. Then the medium books, those books which are above 60 pages, and they go up to about 200 pages or even 300 pages. Then after these books, medium books, then the Bhagavad Gita, which we say is a big book, about 900 pages. Then Krishna book, which is about 900 pages. These are the two big books, Bhagavad Gita and Krishna book. And then the sets of books, the Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhagavatam is 18 volumes. Each volume is about 1250 or 1300 pages. And then Chaitanya Charitamrita is 9 volumes. That's also about 1000 plus pages. So these sets of books have to be read. So this is the sequence if somebody is interested in the sequence. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.